Ho, ho, ho.
We're not going to waste any time. It is the last 12 days of recruiting episode, inaugural shows. We made it all the way to the end. Super Santa, we did it.
Ho, ho, ho. We did it. KG.
I am merry and bright today because I have one of the most brilliant, of true shining star, Miss Madison Butler, here with us today. She goes by Maddie B, the corporate unicorn, the blue-haired unicorn. She's just an awesome, awesome, awesome person. Introduce yourself and let's get into it.
I think you did a really good job. Most people know me as Madison Butler. I used to go by the blue-haired recruiter. I'm now in recruiting recovery. However, I do still run talent at my company. So I guess technically I haven't really left. I just have left the title.
Right. But you did transition into a VP role.
Yes. So my title now is VP of Talent, People, and Culture. Rolls right off the tongue. Very easy and quick to type. So I handle everything from talent to professional development to making sure that we offer a psychologically safe place for people to work where they actually enjoy working there.
As you should, because we've mentioned you on the show before. We had an episode on Trap Chat with the Shark one Thursday, and it had been right after one of the peak episodes that you had this year with some internet trolls or something. Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to call them trolls. People that were literally violent harassing you, like just unnecessarily. So I didn't mention your name, but I talked about situations where people need to relax, need to chill, and need to back off, and just what actually encourages people to even think it's okay to come at someone they don't know, try to ruin their lives, try to, come to their homes, try to, physically assault them. Like who does that? And the fact that you have smiled through all of that, the fact that you didn't let up, you didn't take your foot off the gas for 1 minute. I have to applaud that. But at the same time, I'm like, it shouldn't even be necessary. Like we shouldn't even have to deal with that. So, I'm not going to ask you to relive that trauma, but we do want to talk about some of the ways that you have been able to navigate social media, being an open book, and remain professional. So is that okay?
Yeah, for sure.
Please don't cry. Please don't cry.
I have something in my eye.
Oh, okay.
No crying here.
I'm happy to and so I'm super happy to talk about whatever. Like me being an open book is really a real thing. I'm really open about that situation, about how I got to this point where I just don't have a single F to give. So whatever you want to talk about, let's talk about it.
All right. So how did you, at what point, was it just this year, or is it just that we became connected because of Twitter and the pandemic and me seeing more of your stuff? Have you always been target number one? What do they call that? What did they used to call that back in the day, Super Santa? It's like public enemy number one. Were you always public enemy number one on LinkedIn, or did you grow into that role?
I mean, a little bit of both.
Okay.
And so the thing about me being on Twitter is I've had my Twitter, I think, since 2009, but I went a really long time without using Twitter. I only started using Twitter again early this year when I kept getting kicked off of Facebook. And I was like, dang it, I need somewhere where I can say things and not get kicked off. And I mean, I got kicked off for random stuff. I said men are weird, and they gave me a 3-day ban. And I was like, all right, but I'm not wrong. So I started getting on Twitter again, and then I started following people from LinkedIn, and I was like, all right, well, I might as well just own it now. I'm here. In regards to LinkedIn, it's been a bit. So I've been posting spicy content for a bit of time now, but my content wasn't always spicy. My content used to just be recruiting stuff, and then it moved into how the recruiting process is broken and how unconscious bias affects that. And then I was just like, well, shit, just floor it. And then I started talking about the things that really aren't just the hiring process, how white supremacy has structured corporate America to really fail a lot of marginalized groups. So that's kind of when the death threats and the anger kind of started from people. when I started having conversations that made people uncomfortable. I don't know if I've always been public enemy number one, but I've definitely gotten there. I'm there now, I think. At least number two, maybe not number one, but certainly probably number two.
I think I can only speak for my circle, and surprisingly, I don't see your stuff as much as other people do, because it's never even like our first connection that I'm alerted to. It's either like, something that you might post on Twitter, and then I'll go and look for it. But I'm like, how do you have like 70,000, 100,000 views? And I didn't even get to, be in the conversation and tell someone to back off. Like, so we talked about this a few times, like the Twitter the LinkedIn algorithms, a little bit jacked up. And how do you feel? Yes or no? Do you think LinkedIn makes it so that, like controversial things will be added to what they consider controversial will be highlighted and try and keep people engaged, which basically means they're arguing?
Yes and no. So like I try to basically approach all of my conversations from a really non-political way. I really rarely talk politics on LinkedIn. I'm sure everyone can guess who I voted for, but like I never relate my content to that because racism isn't political. Homophobia isn't political. None of these things are political, and my identity isn't political. However, I will say since LinkedIn added me to their Black Voices to Amplify list, my engagement took a pretty big hit. And so I've always found that really interesting. And I also find it really interesting how racists who I'm a third connection to always find my posts.
Yeah.
That is always weird to me. And I'm like, where did you come from, you person with no profile photo? Like, how did you get here on LinkedIn? So LinkedIn, I really think does control how things work. When you look at the list of Black Voices to Amplify, I'm one of the only ones that has consistent engagement, but I'm also one of the only ones that consistently talks about systemic racism. I'm not like a warm and fluffy influencer. I'm not gonna go tell you to hustle harder and go more and do all these things and you'll be great. I'm not that person. Positive, the forced positivity that exists on LinkedIn kind of gives me stress. So I try to be real because that shit isn't real. It's not real to be positive 24 hours, 7 days a week. It's just not real. And so that was really interesting to me. But LinkedIn also just did this top LinkedIn Voices of Equity list. And not that I care, but I'm not on the list. And out of everyone on the list, I have better engagement than all of them and more followers. And I was like, all right, well, I don't know. Wow. I think they really do pick and choose, especially after I was in the New York Times article with a bunch of other really badass Black women. I think all of us kind of saw a hit to our engagement a little bit.
So one of my dearest friends, we went to undergrad together. I'm her pro-fight, Dr. Kimia Nuru-Dennis. She's actually kicked off of LinkedIn, and not because of something that she did, but because of things that people were doing to her. She was also in that New York Times article, and there have been some times, specifically particularly this summer, where I have just really checked out. And it's not because I don't support my friends. It's not because, I'm not excited about them, being in publications and being featured. It's for the things that they're being featured for. And I'm like, please stop trauma bonding with us or stop forcing that. Do you ever feel like some people are only reaching out to you to talk to you about the bad things, to talk to you about the things that are adverse?
Yes, I definitely think that for sure, especially when they're trying to kind of up their, wokeness footprint. It looks good to feature someone who has lived through some trauma. And my trauma that I've lived through goes all the way back to 2016 when I dated a wild racist. There's a lot of stuff that they can talk about with me that amplifies them without amplifying me and my knowledge and the things that I do on a daily basis. The thing about the New York Times article that I think was great was, one, it was written by a Black woman and she's badass and I adore her. But it also, I think, highlighted the fact that people didn't even know that this existed, Black LinkedIn exists just the way Black Twitter exists, and people didn't know. Because again, the algorithm, who knows where anything lives on any of the internet.
All right. So then we're going to stop and we're going to move into the fun stuff. Because again, you're, like I said, I think you're a fascinating person. Before we went live, we were talking about your deer, your pet deer. I call them your pet deer because I do know that you've named at least one. So
Oh yeah, I have like 5 that have names. So like I also have 5 dogs.
okay.
It's a busy house. I've got 5 dogs, 2 partners, 12 deer. But yes, most of them have names. Most of them have names.
Are you wait, time out. So are you are you the caretaker for Santa's reindeer?
Yes.
Okay. Now I know.
My dogs don't love it. It's okay. But it's really fun. They're cute. They eat me out of house and home, but that's fine. Like I get like a 50-pound bag of deer feed and that'll last like a couple of hours.
That's wow. So the deer, you work from home, correct? 100%. Do you work from home 100%? Did you always, even before the pandemic? Go ahead.
To say, so we were a hybrid. So like I was in the office 3 days, home for 2, or vice versa. We're not an organization that requires anyone to be in the office because our headquarters is in Austin, but we're in 9 locations. So it seems silly to only require people in Austin to go to the office while everyone else works from home. So of course, teams like sales and marketing want to meet in real life, not now. But we were never required to be anywhere. So it didn't really feel like a huge change for me, except like now I'm scared to go to the grocery store.
Oh, no.
I have asthma. So like I feel like COVID for me is like a big threat on my life.
No, I understand. So you said not a big change, but even before COVID, and I noticed that you do this again because I do follow you on social media, and you did mention it before we went live that you're working long hours. Is that a COVID thing or is that a seasonal thing?
That's just a Maddie thing. I'm a perfectionist and I'm a doer, and so I'm like one of those people who like if it doesn't get done, I'm just gonna do it. But I work full time, and then I also consult and I speak, and then I also am the co-founder of another organization and a COO of another consultancy. So either way, I'm busy. This week has definitely been like very much committed to my full-time role. We're in e-com. It is the week before Christmas. We're in e-com and in alcohol. So definitely really busy, but normally those
I'm
hours
into alcohol.
Same. So normally those hours are usually split between all of the things that I do, but this week has really been focused on the tech side of things.
Understood. So how did you get into, I know that you have a role now where you're leading a talent team, but how did you actually get into recruiting?
On accident. Didn't all of us get into this by accident?
According to the folks on our show, yes, 100%.
So like I said, in 2016, I dated a crazy racist. Our breakup went viral on the internet. It made BuzzFeed. I packed my dogs and like enough clothes to get home, drove home to Rhode Island to essentially rebuild my whole life, which meant I had no job, just a car and dogs. And my mom like helped me secure a place to live. But one of my mom's friends was like, oh, I run a high volume staffing firm. Like, if you want to try it out, you can come try it out. And I was like, all right, I'll come try it out. And it was like $19 an hour. You had to hire like 20 people a week. It was wild. And I was like, okay, this is not really that fun. But I like talking to people and I like learning about what people want to do. And so I kept trying to just figure out like how I could do that and have more impact and also like get sleep. And so I moved into like just straight consulting, and I started with an organization that focused primarily on sales and leadership. Okay. And then eventually later on decided that I was going to move from, being a third party to an inside recruiter.
Wow. I think a lot of us have done that. I don't know anyone that we've had on the show. Super Santa, please correct me if I'm wrong, but have we had anyone that has not worked in staffing?
You are right. No.
Wait,
you are totally right.
I can't do this voice.
Ho, ho, ho.
Sir. I can't. Really? Can we get your voice to be the right one? No.
This is Super Santa.
Oh my God.
Maddie B, I got a question for you. You have
I have an
all
answer.
these followers on social media with your content. How did you begin that? I mean, you started with number one. How did you grow? Tell the audience out there, how'd you grow? Santa want to know.
Okay, so I worked at a company that actually just became a unicorn yesterday. So which means they're now valued at over $1 billion. But when I got there, there was this guy named Scott Leaf. Scott Leaf is a sales leader across the country, but especially here in Austin. And when he interviewed me, he was like, how many followers do you have on LinkedIn? And I was like, I don't know, like 400. I got like 400 connections. And at the time, he had like 35,000. And I was like, that's crazy. How did you do that? And he was like, well, I don't understand why you're not leveraging your network when you're a recruiter. He was like, don't you want to be able to post jobs and people just come to you instead of it being the other way around? And I never really thought about it that way. So I just started connecting with more people, reaching out to more people, posting more content. And at that point, my content was really centered around recruiting and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, people like think I'm funny. Woo. And I started getting followers. And he was really, you know, open. He was like, you should be whoever it is that you are online. Like, don't pretend to be someone else to fit into a corporate box. Like, he was like, you have blue hair. Like, you already can't do that. He's like, so you might as well like go for it. Like, it's okay to piss people off. You're gonna piss people off, and that's okay. So that's when I started getting a little bit spicier with my content. And then when I left that organization, I had actually posted something because I'm not gonna lie, I worked my ass off. I tripled the size of their sales team in a very short amount of time. And I also know I'm a fucking fabulous recruiter. But when I left, I had a terrible experience because the VP of customer success just didn't like me. He didn't like me my whole time that I was there. He's kind of just a little bit pretentious. And this was his first big boy job out of, you know, an Ivy League, and his friends handed it to him. And he didn't like that I'm a black person, a black woman who gave him feedback, because it is not okay to say to a black woman in an interview, wow, I'm so surprised by how well-spoken you are.
Oh, he's on the naughty list.
Yeah, put him on the naughty list.
But not the fun naughty list, like the boring naughty list. So when I left, they made my experience terrible, and it didn't have to be that way. And so I shared a post on LinkedIn that was like, the way people treat you on your way out is the way they felt about you all the time. Oh. And it was like it was very short, to the point, but like it was my first, and I mean, and now it doesn't seem that crazy, but it was my first post that got 100,000 views, and I was like, oh my God. And now, you know, I've surpassed that. I've had a million view posts. But that was like when I started really like getting followers, and that's when I really started talking about the shitty things that exist in corporate America. Like the inability for people to just be nice. The people who feel like as an adult, yelling is the appropriate form of communication. I wanted to focus on the things that I knew people were experiencing, but didn't have the ability to speak up about. Correct. And that's kind of where the followers came from. So I average like 100 a day, every other day now. And obviously people unfollow me too, because again, you don't do all of this work without pissing a couple people off. And some people just follow me to troll me. So there's that too.
True. Do you think that especially recruiters that want to be more trailblazers and want to show people that no, recruiters are not bad people. Like, we're like Super Santa, we're like Trap Recruiter, you know, we're people, we're humans, and we're here to help you. Do you think that they are, I don't want to say afraid? Why do you think more aren't speaking up? Why do you think that you are a unicorn in that regard?
Because I've created this like bubble around myself where like this what you see is what you get. There's no like me straightening my hair or like wearing heels and a skirt. I'm very transparent in interviews. Like, what you see is what you get. But not everyone has that privilege or that luxury to pick and choose where they want to work, to pick and choose how their management reacts to the things that they say. I've worked really hard on building a personal brand for myself, and I've just made a promise to me that I wasn't going to compromise myself for another organization, because I had this like come to Jesus moment. I'm an atheist, but I didn't know what other phrase to use. A couple of years ago, I was interviewing with a company, and it was still on the consulting side, and they were like, "Oh my God, we love you, but," and there was this big fat but. And she said, "But we need you to change your hair, straighten your hair, wear a skirt, cover your tattoos." And I was like, okay, so you don't actually like me. You like what I can do for you.
They told you to straighten your hair.
Mm-hmm.
No
Well, no,
way.
they said I would have to control it.
Control it?
Yeah, so take that for what so you know what that meant. I knew what that meant.
Wow. No way.
And so I think that was like the first time that I had this realization, like how many companies want me because I help their bottom line, because I help them with their revenue by hiring badass sales folks, by hiring badass marketing folks, but they don't actually like me as a human, as a Black woman, as a queer person. Like they don't like any of that. They want me to tuck all of that away during the day so that they can remain comfortable. They can remain complacent. And that was the first time that I was like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this again. Like people are going to take it or leave it. And so, you know, when I interviewed with Scott Leese, the first thing I said to him when I got on the phone, I was like, oh my God, okay. So just so you know, my hair is blue. And he was like, yes, I can read. But also, you know, it's on LinkedIn. So like I knew that. And I was like, is that okay? And he was like, yes. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I was like, oh my God, people are actually going to overlook that. And I was like, wait, they're not overlooking that. They're just accepting that about me because it's part of who I am. So it's been a hard road to like create those boundaries and set those boundaries and stand by those boundaries. I think as women, we're trained to say, I'm sorry. We're trained to try and make people comfortable. Yeah. And so I've really focused on learning and unlearning all of the things that society has taught us and understanding that like other people being uncomfortable is not my issue to unpack. It is their issue to unpack.
100%. And again, I can look up to you in that regard because I, as a Gen Xer, you know, I have had times where I have, you know, shrunk because I didn't have any other choice. Or I didn't feel like I had another choice. Not to say that I'm not outspoken, because if you ask anybody that's ever worked with me inside of corporate, they'll be like, Kirsten will not let up. But yeah, there were a lot of things that I did let slide, that I didn't, you know, that I didn't bring up, you know, even, you know, I go through the hair thing, which is why I got upset when you said that someone told you to straighten your hair, because I got told not to wear a ponytail. You know, like it makes you look like a child. It's not professional. And I do blow my hair out. And when I have worn it naturally, I get is that a wig? Did you do something different? You know, like then that becomes the conversation. And I'm here to work. I'm not here to talk about what I have on, you know, or how my hair is styled. Like to me, it becomes a distraction. And again, even me saying it's a distraction just fed into the microaggression that I'm trying to combat. You know, like what do I do with that? And some of it is because of the way that I was raised, because because I am a generation before you, that it's just like, that's just what we were taught. But I will tell you that I have multiple times when I do have the opportunity to tell my peers, my age group, to stop dictating to those behind us what professional is, what they should be wearing, how they should be speaking. Because guess what? If we had done our work, if we had been as vocal as them, we'd be much further along where it wouldn't be as necessary. So again, I mean, I gotta give you the hand clap for that. Thank you.
I've actually, and I'm trying really hard to remove the word professional from my language at all. It wasn't a word that was created for me. It wasn't a word that was created for you. And so how am I supposed to fit into a word that wasn't ever meant for me? And so if I want to really dismantle what corporate America is right now, then I have to stop using the words that were created for the original corporate America.
Yeah.
Because there is no professional. There is no right way to be successful. There's no equation. We're not in algebra. There's no like A plus B equals C. It's just not a thing. And so I really tried to avoid that word, just because the tone behind it, the language or the definition behind it was never intended for people who look like me.
All right. Super Santa, you got any more questions before, I know you do, before we dive into holiday cheer?
All I can say is, Maddie B and KG, be yourself. We all are self. Quick story about me, a little bit different. I had blonde highlighted hair for 12 years. And guess what? I lost a couple of jobs and they told me I had to dye my hair back to my normal color. And I said, no way. So it happens in all aspects.
Tell the truth. That wasn't the real reason. It's because you wouldn't wear pants. I'm just teasing. He loves shorts. Like he's probably got on shorts. Well, sorry. Santa has on a Santa suit.
Santa has everything on. But no, I love the conversation here. We all got to stay strong, look in the mirror, love ourselves, and say, we're going to do it our way. No judgment. End of the story.
All right. Super Santa, are you ready?
I'm ready. Maddie B, are you ready?
He doesn't.
Yeah.
Did
I have a dog joining me.
That's fine. Listen. Which one?
This is Bobby from Belize.
Hi, Bobby. Bobby wants
him.
attention. Bobby wants attention.
Yeah, he was sitting here pawing me and it was hurting. I found him on vacation in Belize last year. He was living outside my resort. So he flew to America.
How can anybody not like someone who rescued and adopted an animal from Belize? Like that just came up to you. I hope they don't. That's why you have that's why you have 12 deer now.
Yep.
All right. Super Santa.
Alrighty. First question. Favorite toy growing up for Christmas time or holiday?
Oh God, I wasn't really like a toy kid.
All right. So what was your favorite gift? Like you were a kid, you woke up and you got it and you were like, yes, Super Santa.
Books. 100% books. Books or new soccer stuff.
New soccer stuff. Oh. Did not. Did you play?
Yeah, I played through college and then I actually played up until being like 26 and then I blew my whole knee out. Had surgery. No, this is really gross. So I'm going to share it with you. I tore my ACL so hard that I broke my leg.
Oh, no.
But like it didn't no one touched me. I was like by myself. So I was just moving on my own. But it didn't hurt as bad as like it sounds like it hurt. So when they actually told me that's what I did, I was like, no, there's no way you like have someone else's MRI. That's not me.
I was much more liking the soccer story.
All right,
but
I played rugby in college too.
I want to know what books though. Like when I was growing up, it was Judy Blume. God, just tell everybody that I'm an old lady. But yes, it was Judy Blume. It was even like The Bluest Eye was my favorite book when I was coming up. I think my mother exposed me to some things I probably shouldn't, because I used to ask a lot of questions about some of the language in the more, quote unquote grown up books. Like I remember asking my mother one time, they were describing a situation, pleasure situation. And I asked my mother what it means to make your love come down. Now imagine asking, because at the time, so Rich, you know this, there was a song called Baby, You Make My Love Come Down. And I wasn't allowed to sing that either, but I knew there was a song. So I needed to understand what this was. And so, yes, my mother had to explain not just sex to me, but the pleasure that is associated with sex and make it make sense.
I'm sure she enjoyed doing that.
Oh, my mother is awesome. So she was just like, she didn't lie. She wasn't like the stork comes and drops. Yeah, there wasn't any of that. She told me when somebody gets excited, they have I was like, yeah. Anyway, so what was your favorite book? No, I need to know what her favorite book was.
So when I was younger, like 6, 7, 8, I read a lot of Junie B. Jones. Mm-hmm. But I still pretty much read only psychological thrillers because I like to be scared and confused at the same time.
Okay. All right. Santa.
Favorite holiday cookie or dessert?
Wait, does it have to be a Christmas cookie or dessert, or can it be any holiday?
It could be any holiday.
So my dad's mom, my grandmother, makes the 7-Up cake, and she makes it with 7-Up in the cake. I think about it a lot now that I live 1,900 miles away. That, and then I'm half Portuguese, and and they're these little like, and I can't pronounce it because I didn't learn the language, but they're these little like pastries that have a custard in them. And they're really good. So those are probably my favorite. If you want like a basic one, it's probably just pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie, not sweet potato pie.
Absolutely not.
So can I just am I the only person that thinks like pumpkin cheesecake and sweet potato pie taste exactly the same?
I'm not a cheesecake fan. I'm not a cheesecake fan. So like, I love the idea of cheesecake, and I love about 1.5 bites of cheesecake. And then I'm like, that was enough. I'm good.
Okay.
It was dense enough, and it's like, it's just a lot.
Understood.
Next one, favorite holiday song. Do you have one?
No, I hate Christmas music so much.
All righty then.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to say it one more time. Ho, ho, ho.
Don't put her on the bad list.
No, never.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to go with this one. This is fun. Fruitcake, yay or nay?
Oh, no, nay, hard nay.
Hard nay.
That would be number 10, right?
Ooh, no, we've got 2.5 fruitcake.
2.5, all right.
Yeah, because this morning we had I like this version of fruitcake, but not the American. So, and then we had our 2 people who actually do like it. All right, so favorite holiday cartoon.
Oh, the Peanuts.
You just broke Santa's heart because Santa's favorite is Frosty, and probably because he's in it.
That's right.
All right, favorite holiday movie. Please don't say Die Hard.
I'm not a holiday movie kind of person. I literally only watch horror movies.
Really?
Is there a Christmas horror movie?
Okay.
Oh, like Silent Night, Billy Night, when they come after me.
I'm sure there is a horror movie that was so okay. No, I'm trying to think. It was there may be a holiday movie that either came out around. A horror movie that came out around the holidays, or that has a holiday scene in it, where like they fall over the Christmas tree, break all the balls running away. Like I know there is. I know there's some movies like that. So I just have to. I'm going to get back to you on that and give you and add to your collection. We did song. We did favorite holiday beverage.
Ooh, that's a good one. Honestly, I am like a big mimosa bar kind of lady. I love a mimosa bar. I love a sparkling champagne. I obviously work for a cocktail company, so I have, my choices. So I also love pretty much anything with mezcal.
Okay.
Mezcal and cranberries. Yeah.
Now that's very, very, that sounds very holiday.
Mm-hmm. Or like a Bellini. I love a Bellini.
Yeah. I like mimosas too, but without the orange juice or any other juice. Yeah. But I put fruit. I mean, if you see me, I put fruit in my wine, so to make it more healthy.
Yeah, it's been a fruit salad.
Exactly. Did we miss any, Santa?
We got it all. You did a great job, KG.
This voice is cracking me up. Like, you said that you were going to cheer me up, and I got to give it to you that you did. You have made me merry.
This is what it's all about.
You have made me merry and bright. I'm going to receive a great deal of slander for my bows and things, but that's fine. I don't care. Thank you. Any last words you have, words of encouragement for younger folks, either job seekers or professionals, ready for a transition as we move into the next year?
Yeah, so I think for me, and something that I'm trying to embody right now, regardless of people's feedback or terrible comments or just mean stuff, other people's opinion of you does not change the validity of your identity and who you are and how you love and who you love and the life you've built for yourself. So do your best to be kind to yourself and be soft with yourself and know that it's okay to block that person from your hometown who only comments to start shit, but you haven't talked to them and they've never left. It's okay to block them.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We do have to have you back in 2021. Santa will unfortunately not be here. And thank you, Santa, for coming. We know you're busy.
You're quite welcome. I just want to tell everybody, be nice in 2021. Be nice. Ho, ho, ho.
Thank you, everyone. This has been the inaugural 12 days of recruiting. Please do catch up on the previous 11 episodes. Every single one has gems that you just need to gobble up. Wait, wrong holiday. Anyway, thanks for joining us, and we will see you guys on the other side of 2020. I don't know.
Ho, ho, ho. Happy New Year, everybody. Ho,
Happy
ho,
New
ho.
Year.